A very good morning. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Smriti Rastogi with Breakfast News. Let's begin the bulletin with the top headlines of the day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Spain on second leg of four-nation tour. In Germany, invites companies to invest in India as two countries sign 12 MOUs. Madras High Court stays centre's ban on sale of cattle for slaughter, seeks reply from the government. Protest in states against order continues. Criminal conspiracy charges against Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, Uma Bharti and 9 others in Babri Masjid demolition case. Congress demands Bharti's ouster, centre defence leaders. US tests its defense system for the first time against an intercontinental ballistic missile, test and backdrop of increased tensions with North Korea. At least 40 people killed in series of bombings in Baghdad. Attack as IS militants steadily lose territory to US-backed Iraqi forces. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Spain on the second leg of his four-nation tour. This is for the first visit by the Indian Prime Minister to Spain since 1988. On arrival, Prime Minister tweeted, "I landed in Spain, marking the start of a very important visit aimed at improving economic and cultural relations with Spain." He is marking the start of a very important visit aimed at improving economic and cultural relations with Spain. Prime Minister Modi was received by Spain's finance minister. He will hold discussions with his Spanish counterpart, Mariano Rajoy, on ways to deepen bilateral engagement, including high-tech sector. He will also call on King Philip VI of Spain. The PM will also have a roundtable interaction with leading Spanish business leaders who are keen to invest in India. Meanwhile, post-Brexit and the uncertainty in the American policies under the Trump administration, India has assured all possible cooperation to Germany for a stronger and result-oriented European Union. Germany also expressed confidence in India's growth trajectory. After Prime Minister Narendra Modi met German counterpart Angela Merkel in Germany on Tuesday.
India and Germany on Tuesday held the fourth intergovernmental consultation. While Prime Minister Modi called the relationship between the two countries made for each other, Angela Merkel said she counted on India as a reliable partner. India and Germany signed 12 MOUs following the talks. The MOUs included cooperation in digitization, skill development, finance, education, health sector, alternative medicine, setting up Foreign Service Institute, commerce, heavy industries, railway and sustainable urban development.
यूरोपियन यूनियन में के समक्ष जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं तथा जो चुनौतियां हैं उसकी भी विस्तार से हमने समीक्षा की है। पार्टनरशिप का महत्व दोनों देशों के लिए तो लाभ करता है ही है, लेकिन ये पार्टनरशिप वैश्विक संदर्भ में भी किस प्रकार से उपयोगी हो, उस दिशा में भी हमारी चिंतन की धारा रही है।
We have established a solar partnership with India, and it's been impressive to see the way in which India has been speeding up the expansion of solar energy in its country. We've had a very intensive exchange of views on this. So we have expanded and deepened our close bilateral cooperation in a number of areas.
Modi and Merkel also talked in detail about the prevailing global situation, including reforms in the United Nations, the nuclear suppliers group and climate change. They also discussed the situation in Europe after Britain's exit from the European Union.
जर्मन निवेश तथा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से जुड़ रहा है। बहुत तेजी से फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट में जर्मनी का कंट्रीब्यूशन हमारे यहाँ बढ़ रहा है। मिटलस्टान कंपनीज पर मैं विशेष फोकस करूंगा कि उन्होंने हमारे यहाँ काफ़ी कंट्रीब्यूशन किया है और काफ़ी मात्रा में किया है। स्किल इंडिया मिशन उसको सक्सेस बनाने में जर्मन की पार्टनरशिप बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है।
The two leaders also addressed the Indo-German Business Summit in Berlin. Merkel said Germany doesn't just want to trade with India. Modi, on the other hand, invited German companies to invest in India.
Deutschland ist der mit Abstand wichtigste Handelspartner aus der EU in Indien. Aber wir wollen nicht nur handeln, sondern wir wollen auch investieren.
I invite more and more German colleagues and companies to India. Our direction, desire and dreams create tremendous business opportunity.
India and Germany are enjoying the best of relations currently, driven closer by the uncertainty in the US policies towards Europe and Chinese assertions on the One Belt, One Road. Modi and Merkel also dwelt on how to deal with the polarization in the world and terrorism. Before wrapping up his visit, Prime Minister Modi also met the German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. The Prime Minister described his visit as fruitful for Indo-German relations. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And in a crucial development in the 1992 Babri Masjid demolition case, a special CBI court has filed criminal conspiracy charges against senior BJP leaders L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi and Uma Bharti and 9 others accused. The leaders were present in the court and argued against the framing of charges, but their discharge petition was rejected. Here are the more details.
Veteran BJP leader L.K. Advani making his second court appearance in 25 years in the Babri Masjid case. Accompanied by co-accused party leaders Murli Manohar Joshi and Uma Bharti, the three were granted bail along with the others accused on a personal bond of 20,000 rupees each.
मैंने आंदोलन में भागीदारी की है। मैं 6 दिसंबर को अयोध्या में मौजूद थी और ये भागीदारी खुली हुई थी और इसमें तो भाजपा के करोड़ों कार्यकर्ता, लाखों अधिकारी और हजारों नेता शामिल हुए हैं। ये तो खुला आंदोलन था, जैसे इमरजेंसी के खिलाफ आंदोलन हुआ था वैसा था ये तो। अब इस आंदोलन में क्या साजिश थी मुझे पता नहीं ना अभी, तो माननीय कोर्ट को मैं मानती हूँ, तो मैं तो कोर्ट का सम्मान रखने के लिए आ गई हूँ।
But the relief was short-lived as soon after the special CBI court in Lucknow ruled that the leaders would be charged with criminal conspiracy.
हमने डिस्चार्ज की एप्लीकेशन 12 लोगों की तरफ से लगाई थी कि इनके खिलाफ 120 की कोई एविडेंस नहीं है, लेकिन क्योंकि ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑर्डर है कि लोअर कोर्ट इसमें चार्ज फ्रेम करे, तो लिहाजा उसमें उन्होंने उस एप्लीकेशन को खारिज करके इन सब के खिलाफ चार्ज फ्रेम कर दिया है।
L.K. Advani and 11 other leaders are now accused under Section 120B with 153, 153A, 295, 295A and 505 of the IPC, which includes criminal conspiracy, promoting enmity between different groups and injuring or defiling a place of worship with intent to insult the religion. While the opposition questioned the feasibility of Uma Bharti continuing as a union minister, BJP leaders maintain Advani and others did no wrong.
आरोपित लोगों में एक केंद्रीय मंत्री माननीय उमा भारती जी भी हैं। आरोपित होने के बाद उन्हें अपने पद पर बने रहने का अधिकार नहीं और उन्हें अपने पद से फौरन इस्तीफा देना चाहिए।
Their manipulation to distort justice has not succeeded. So now they should be charged. I mean, there should be no further delay. There should be no further delay, no, because the amount of time that you have lost already, that is itself is denial of justice.
इनके कहने या न कहने से राम मंदिर वहाँ बनेगा या नहीं बनेगा, ये उसकी सुनवाई नहीं है। ये सुनवाई है कि किसी ढांचे को या बाबरी मस्जिद को साजिशाना और लोगों को अलग करने के लिए, धार्मिक दुर्भावना फैलाने के लिए इन्होंने वो ढांचा तोड़ा या बाबरी मस्जिद तोड़ी कि नहीं तोड़ी।
This is a legal process. Let it happen, and we are sure our leaders, they are innocent. They will come out unscathed in the entire thing.
A CBI court had in 2001 dropped the conspiracy charges against the accused, and the Allahabad High Court upheld the judgment in 2010. But the Supreme Court on April 19, 2017 revived the conspiracy charges and directed the special CBI court to frame charges and conclude the trial in 2 years. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And let's take a look at all the other national developments and nationwide. A day after senior BJP leaders were charged with criminal conspiracy in the 1992 Babri Mosque demolition case, UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath arrived in Ayodhya. This is Yogi Adityanath's first visit post taking charge as the Chief Minister. He visited the Hanumangadi temple. He is also expected to visit Ram Lala in the makeshift temple at Ram Janmabhoomi. This is also the first visit by UP Chief Minister to Ayodhya in 26 years. The National Green Tribunal has ordered the demolition of 5 resorts in Kasauli in Himachal Pradesh. These hotels were either constructed or expanded without adequate approvals from the authorities. The bench also ordered the resorts to pay up for the fine of the environmental destruction. Veteran filmmaker and former Union Minister Dasari Narayan Rao died on Tuesday at the age of 75 after prolonged illness. He is known for his works predominantly in the Telugu cinema and has received the National Award. Rao was a Congress MP from Andhra Pradesh and served as the Union Minister of the state for coal between 2004 and 2006 and in his second term from 2006 to 2008. And on to the latest from Kashmir, where the curfew-like restrictions remained in force in several parts of the valley for the third consecutive day on Tuesday. This was a precautionary measure by the authorities to maintain law and order following the killing of Hizbul Mujahideen commander Sabzar Bhatt. Separatists had called for a march to Tral area in South Kashmir's Pulwama district to pay tributes to Bhatt. Barring 2 incidents of stone pelting, the overall situation remained peaceful in the valley. Curfew-like restrictions were imposed in districts of Anantnag, Pulwama, Kulgam and Shopian and in 7 police station areas of Srinagar and Sopore. Section 144 continued in the districts of Budgam and Ganderbal in central Kashmir. Authorities also suspended mobile internet services in the valley. Schools and colleges remained shut and university exams in Kashmir were postponed for the day. Meanwhile, the Srinagar-Jammu National Highway was closed for traffic. The Madurai bench of Madras High Court has stayed the operation of statutory rules notified by the centre banning the sale and purchase of cattle for slaughter. The court passed the order on a PIL that challenged the constitutional validity of the rules notified by the centre. The petition also claims that the PCA Act permits slaughter of animals as well as sale of animals for slaughter. The petitioner also contended that the new rules offend the right to freedom of religion and the protection of interest of minorities guaranteed by the Constitution. Many states had condemned the centre's order, alleging that the ban was an attack on individual rights. DMK's working president, M.K. Stalin, will lead a protest against the ban in Chennai today, while Karnataka Law Minister T.B. Jayachandra called the notification an attempt to encroach upon powers of the state. Puducherry Chief Minister V. Narayanasamy said he will not implement the order. In Mumbai, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar called the notification a gross injustice to farmers, and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee asked the state officials to not abide by the notification. With the goods and services tax all set to roll out from 1st of July, West Bengal Finance Minister Amit Mitra on Tuesday said that bill is not fully prepared to be implemented. Mitra opposed the GST rates on some products that he said were likely to impact the state economy and employment badly. He said the goods and services tax bill would be tabled in the assembly only after a consensus was reached between the state and the centre over the contentious rates. Besides, the tax rates on books and leather, a major point of contention of the West Bengal Finance Minister, was over the entertainment tax. He said the state's 2% tax for vernacular films would shoot up under the GST, affecting cultural activities state and discouraging artists. Mitra said he might attend the next council meeting on 3rd of July to raise their concerns. The meeting is slated to take up tax rates for goods like gold, which were left out in the last meeting.
যেটা 2009 তৃণমূল কংগ্রেসের ম্যানিফেস্টোতে ছিল মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়ের নেতৃত্বে যে জিএসটিকে ইন প্রিন্সিপাল সাপোর্ট করব আমরা, সেই সম্বন্ধে কোনো কনসেনসাস এম্পাওয়ার্ড কমিটিতে তৈরি হয়নি। কি কনসেনসাস? আপনারা জানেন জিএসটি বিলটা আগেই পেশ হয়েছিল এই কেন্দ্রীয় সরকার আসার আগে। সেই বিলটাকে অ্যামেন্ড করতে হবে। সেই অ্যামেন্ডমেন্টটা কি হবে সেই নিয়েই কোনো সহমত নেই।
And on to the latest development which took place this morning. There has been a powerful explosion near the Indian embassy in the Afghan capital of Kabul. There has been some damage to the embassy property reported. The embassy is located in Wazir Muhammad Akbar Khan diplomatic area. Many foreign embassies are located in the area, including the American and Canadian embassies. The Afghan National Security Force has deployed its team in the area for rescue and counter-insurgency operations. Further details are awaited. Meanwhile, the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has tweeted that the embassy staff is safe. And with that, we'll head into a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. Stay with us.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back. Monsoon arrived on the Kerala coast on Tuesday, 2 days before the normal onset of date. According to the Indian Meteorological Department, very heavy rainfall is likely to occur at 1 or 2 places in Kerala today. Strong winds from the westerly directions with speed occasionally reaching 45 to 55 kilometers per hour is likely to hit Kerala and Lakshadweep coast in the next 24 hours. Earlier this month, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which are the first areas to receive monsoon rains, received rainfall 6 days ahead of the schedule. Monsoon has also hit parts of northeast India, including Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh due to Cyclone Mora over the Bay of Bengal, which aided the advancement of the seasonal rainfall. The Met Department has predicted higher than average rainfall this year as the weather phenomena El Nino has eased the moderate level.
Heavy rainfall at many places. Actually, it is a good start. The whole nation was waiting for the onset of southwest monsoon, and even though the normal date of onset is 1st June, this year we got at least 2 days in advance.
Meanwhile, Cyclone Mora got the rains early in the northeast but has wreaked havoc in neighbouring Bangladesh. At least 6 people were killed after the severe cyclone storm made landfall along the southeastern coast of Bangladesh. Hundreds of houses were destroyed, with the authorities scrambling to evacuate over 500,000 people from the coastal areas. Bangladesh Meteorological Department said it is likely to move in a northerly direction further. All flights were suspended from Chittagong International Airport and Cox's Bazar airports. As per the reports, as many as 3 lakh people had been taken to shelter in more than 10 districts most vulnerable to the cyclone. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who is in Vienna, is monitoring the situation and has ordered all-out preparation to tackle the storm. Road Transport Minister Obaidul Qadir said that the government has disbursed cash assistance of 18.7 million taka for the affected areas. Fishermen, however, have been warned against venturing into the sea. And the death toll due to the floods and landslides in Sri Lanka climbed nearly 200, even as authorities continue rescue and relief operations. Indian Navy diving and medical teams also joined the rescue efforts in the flood-hit regions. More than 500,000 people have been displaced due to the floods, the worst in the country in 14 years.
Sri Lankan authorities continue to struggle in flood-hit regions despite the arrival of international help. Nearly 200 people have died in the flooding resulting from one of the worst torrential rains in the country, which began last Friday. Indian naval divers and medical teams on Tuesday joined the rescue efforts in the flood-hit regions. Government has initiated efforts to purify wells and other potable water sources which have been contaminated by the floods, as tens of thousands of affected people are left without safe drinking water. More than 100 people have been injured and nearly 500,000 displaced. Nearly 6 lakh people have been forced to abandon their houses, with thousands suffering structural damage from flood inundation and landslides.
කිසිම මිනිහෙක් ආවේ නැහැ. රජ නිලධාරියෙක්වත් කිසිම මිනිහෙක් ආවේ නැහැ. මේ අවට මිනිස්සු විතරයි ගොඩක් ඇවිල්ලා උදව් කර කන්න බොන්න දීලා සේරම හැමදේම කරේ.
Although the weather has cleared in some areas, making way for people to return to their homes, thousands are still stuck in relief camps with their homes completely destroyed or submerged. The Indian contingent of more than 300 Navy personnel was assisting in the relief. INS Shardul has nearly 200 personnel on board, including specialized rescue, diving and medical teams. INS Kerch was carrying 125 personnel. A third Indian naval ship also arrived, bringing relief supplies, including rice, lentils, sugar, milk and blankets for the displaced.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ අවස්ථාවේදී කිසිම ભેදයකින් තොරව ජාති ආගම් කුල දේශපාලන පක්ෂපාත ભેදයෙන් තොරව ජනතාවගෙන් ඉල්ලනවා මේ විපතටපත් උදවියට තමන්ගේ සම්පූර්ණ සහයෝගය ලබා දෙන්න.
මේ ආපදාවලට පත්වෙච්ච අය සඳහා විශේෂ සහන යටතේ ණය ලබා දෙන්න. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ සඳහා බිලියන 2ක් පමණ වෙන් කරන ලෙස උපදෙස් දීලා තියෙනවා.
Foreign assistance is continuing to flow in, with India, China and Pakistan among the countries sending shiploads of humanitarian aid. The rebuilding effort is underway, with government approving 2.5 million rupees for every damaged house.
නියම විදියට ආපදාවට ලක් වෙලා මේ හානිත කර ප්‍රදේශවලට තමයි අපේ සම්පූර්ණම මෙහෙයුම තිබෙන්නේ.
මිනිස්සුන්ට ඒ පුරුද්ද දෙන්න බය නැහැ. දැන් මිනිස්සු ගෙවල් බඩු අස්පස් කරනවා. තියෙන ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙන දේවල් සුද්ධ කරලා හොදලා ඒව කරගන්නවා. දැන් ආයි ගම් වතුරක් එයි කියන බයක් නැහැ. දැන් ඉතින් ආයි කාලයකට ගම් වතුරක් එන්නේ නැහැ කියන විශ්වාසය තියෙනවා. මොකද මෙහෙම ගම් වතුරක් ආපුවම කාලයකට ආපහු එන්නේ නැහැ.
Following India's lead in sending out emergency relief, more countries have started pledging assistance. This year's disaster is one of the worst ever calamities in Sri Lanka since the 2003 floods, which claimed 250 lives. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Talking about some more international developments, a series of bombing claimed lives of 40 people across Baghdad on Tuesday. It started with a massive bombing outside a popular ice cream parlor in central Baghdad that killed 17 and wounded 32 others. With the blast, a huge fireball engulfed the area, causing cars to scramble to get away. In a few seconds, wounded and bloodied people were seen crying for help at the sidewalk outside the ice cream parlor. In the second attack, 14 people were killed in an explosive-laden car which went off during rush hour near the state-run public pension office in Baghdad's busy Shawaka area. Later, 7 people died and 19 were wounded in 4 separate bombings in and around Baghdad. While first 2 bombings were claimed by IS, no group immediately claimed responsibility for the other 2 attacks. The attacks come as IS militants are steadily losing territory to Iraqi forces in the battle for Mosul, the country's second largest city. United Nations has sounded a warning over the crisis unfolding in Yemen. It has said that the country was descending into total collapse, its people facing war, famine and a deadly outbreak of cholera. United Nations top humanitarian coordinator has said that urgent action was required. Speaking to the UNSC, Stephen O'Brien said that the time is now to put Yemen back on the path to survival. Yemen is in the midst of the humanitarian crisis with almost 7 million people on the brink of famine. An outbreak of cholera has also killed 500 people. This even as country has been embroiled in fighting between forces loyal to President Mansour Hadi, backed by a Saudi-led coalition, and Shia Houthi rebels. Stephen O'Brien said that the suffering of Yemenis was the fault of those involved and inaction by world powers.
I appeal to Member States to ensure that all efforts are made to keep Hodeidah port open and operating. An attack on Hodeidah is not in the interests of any party, as it will directly and irrevocably drive the Yemeni population further into starvation and famine.
The United States has for the first time successfully tested its defense system against an intercontinental ballistic missile or ICBM. The Missile Defense Agency said that a ground-based interceptor missile was launched at a California air base and it shot down a mock ballistic missile over the Pacific Ocean. The Pentagon said that the test was long planned, but it comes amid increased tensions with North Korea. The test comes after Pyongyang fired its 9th missile this year. While the Pentagon is calling this test a success, some experts cautioned that the $40 billion missile defense system still has a long way to go before it can be considered fully developed. Apart from the missile test on Tuesday, US has ramped up other missile defense efforts, including the deployment of the 3rd missile defense system to South Korea. And on to sports, India on Tuesday thrashed Bangladesh by 240 runs in a warm-up match in London ahead of the ICC Champions Trophy. Chasing a target of 325 runs, Bangladesh were bundled out for just 84 runs. Umesh Yadav and Bhuvneshwar Kumar rattled the Bangladesh batting order. Earlier, invited to bat first, India made 324 for 7 against Bangladesh in a practice match in London. Dinesh Karthik top scored with a 77-ball 94, while Hardik Pandya remained unbeaten on 80 of 54 balls. Opener Shikhar Dhawan also made a useful 60 of 67 balls. India will now face arch rivals Pakistan in their tournament opener on June 4th at Edgbaston. After this win, defending champions India has set the tone for the ICC Champions Trophy opener against Pakistan on June 4th. The Indian squad, Sania Mirza, Leander Paes and Rohan Bopanna will open their campaign today at the French Open, the second Grand Slam of the season in Paris. In women's doubles opening round, Sania and her Kazakh teammate Yaroslava Shvedova will take on the Aussie-Russian team of Daria Gavrilova and Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. In men's doubles, Paes and his American counterpart Scott Lipsky will clash with the Moldovan-Korean pair of Rado Albert and Hyun Chung, while Bopanna and Pablo Cuevas will meet the French team. Another Indian pair in the men's doubles, Purav Raja and David Sharan, will also slug it out against the Spanish-American duo of Nicolas Almagro and Steve Johnson. Meanwhile, in singles, world number 1 Andy Murray, Stanislas Wawrinka, Simona Halep and Agnieszka Radwanska were among the top shot players who progressed to the second round. However, 7th seed Joanna Konta and 9th placed Alexander Zverev bowed out. Romania's Halep was a doubt for the tournament after tearing an ankle ligament less than 2 weeks ago, but thrashed Jana Sepelova 6-2, 6-3. Switzerland's former champion Wawrinka overcame world number 152 Joseph Kovalik 6-2, 7-6, 6-3. Juan Martin Del Potro, in his first match at Roland Garros since 2012, beat fellow Argentine Guido Pella. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Breakfast News. Keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.